Then, what is money? How is it evolved?
See, money is just a medium for exchange of value. We all know, right? And money has been existing in this world probably 5,000 years back. See, there is, when you look at the evolution of money, when you look in detail, there is a lot of different phases for money, and we'll talk about it. The first one was obviously the barter system. You might have heard about it, trading off objects for another objects. Whereas I'm trading off this cup for probably something else. And I'll give you the example. At earlier stages, let us say a farmer with a bunch of wheat, he'll be trading off this bunch of wheat probably for an animal skin for him to wear at night, and probably he'll trading off this animal skin to get an axe to cut his trees probably. And this sort of exchange from like between these objects has been known as barter system. See, barter system was the early stages of money, but there's a lot of problems in barter system. Obviously, you might be thinking about it easily. You would be understanding. See, it took a lot of time for people to have a very basic transaction itself, because it is very hard for you to get what you need. For example, let us say I need wheat, but probably at this point of time everybody around me is having weapons, stones, probably skin and all of that, but I'm not getting the food that I need. Let us say I have this cup to trade off, but nobody is willing to do it, so I'll have to find a person with food or wheat in order to get that food or in order to get what I need. So for a very basic transaction itself, it was taking a lot of time, which was not acceptable for these things, right? Because you won't get things in urgency. But later on you understand, there was few things which was selling off very faster. Obviously food items like salt, weapons, animal skin and all of that was very easy going commodity. That is, if you have that, you would probably buy anything. So eventually people started to collect, let us say, salt as a form of currency, because they when they give salt to anybody, they would get whatever they need. So eventually this barter system was having a partiality towards the salt, weapons and all of that, that is easygoing commodities, and thus the barter system eventually started to change. Later on from this point, it has moved to a system where precious metals or coins has been considered as currency. The reason why precious metals has been considered as currency is because they itself has an intrinsic material value. So people started to collect gold coins, silver coins, and etc. as form of currencies, and they used this gold coin to buy anything. You give a bunch of gold coin to some shopkeeper or something, you get lot of rice or other food edible things, or maybe your dress, your whatsoever it is, weapons or whatsoever it is. So this metals started to become the coins or the form of money, but it also had a lot of problems. The biggest thing is it was very hard to transact from one point to another. You think about a group of traders who want to move from one place to another, you think about them sacking up all the coins in a big sack, and they'll have to transport it. It's pretty very hard for them. So it is also easy to get robbed as well. You might understand, right? We might have heard about a lot of stories, the burglars and everybody has been robbed a lot of gold coins and etc. So whatsoever it is, so it was pretty hard for them to transact. It was very difficult for them to have that transaction. But the thing is, since this material had intrinsic value, there has been a lot of evil activities, or maybe the thieves behind this has been happening. See, tell you about this. There is a lot of people who was smuggling these coins, or they started to clip the edges and reduce the size of coin and transact it for the same value. And the edges that I have clipped, they have been turning it into another coins, and they were creating their own money. It was one of the biggest problem. And another biggest problem was that these burglars started to create alloys in this and mix alloys in this coins, and people won't understand easily. Instead of gold coin, they would mix something else as well with the gold, and they could create two coins out of one coin. And all of that started to happen. Since all of that started to happen, the practice of transporting or practice of exchanging metal coins started to reduce slowly, and thus there the currency or the paper currency system started. The most probably, the way that paper currencies has been evolved would be like, you think about a very common village, and village has a very proper authority. So a person, let us say I have a sack of gold coin, I would give this gold coin to this authority, and this authority would give me a paper writing that, okay, this person Ken is having one sack of gold coin here. So this paper would have the same value of this sack of coin, and they could use this paper in order to transact the value. So whoever coming with this paper would get this sack of coin, and that is how I think probably the currency or the note system would be coming in. But basically, the whole point is when the currency note system is coming in, it is always backed by gold, silver, or an authority. So basically, because it was backed by metals and also it was signed by authority, this had a transactional value. That is how the currency note might have come into. And from this thing, because this paper currency was backed by a lot of things, there was gold, there was silver, there was a lot of other things as well. So the transactional value started to differ and it was pretty hard for them to standardize it. Thus came the gold backed currency. A lot of places quickly adopted this gold backed currency. The whole point was, the whole currency system came into gold, and you put up this gold reserve to the authority, you get a paper, and this paper can be used for transactional values and gold based currency. And at 1931, gold backed currency was stopped. And especially when you look into Indian space, from 1931, the gold backed currency was stopped and silver backed currency started out. Basically, called sterling. Sterling backed currency started off at 1931, and still it lasted somewhere around 1956. That was the golden, gold backed currency season. And then came in the fiat currency. So, what was the fiat currency? And one important thing here is that probably a lot of people think that our rupees even now are backed by gold. Obviously, no, because from 1956, all the gold and metal backed currency has been stopped, and from 1956, we started to have the fiat currency. So, what is this fiat currency? Basically, a currency in which it is backed by the authority of government, not by any metals. Basically, you have the sign of a governor or whoever it is, RBI governor on the note, right? So that is the authority, that is the transactional value. So basically, the government is the transactional value of fiat currency. It is not backed by gold or anything else. And obviously, why this gold backed currency has been removed is because because some countries was easily able to produce the gold, and so they were easily to bring in a lot of money, and they could do the global trade. So they had an advantage. That was one of a big reason. And another reason it was because it was pretty hard for the countries to have that currency in circulation, and also the exchange rates was very different from countries to country, so it also created chaos. So that is why countries adopted the fiat currency method. And for a sake, we have to understand that right now we have the fiat currency method, where the paper that we find value as money is just backed by government or an authority, not by any metals or something. So this is the whole journey of money, right from barter system to the precious metals and to the currency notes and to the gold backed currency notes, and then to the fiat currency, which is the current system we have. And probably fast forward, we might have something like Web3 currencies like bitcoins, etc. So let's see to that, right?
Then, on what basis India print money?
See, as I've told you, from 1956, government has started to use the fiat currency. That is the currency which is no longer backed by gold or silver by the authority of government. That is, if you have a 100 rupee note, it is basically the government has signed on it saying that, I promise to pay the bearer the sum of X amount of rupees, right? And it is written that guaranteed by central government or whatsoever it is. So basically, we have the fiat currencies which is being backed by government and no longer the gold or silver, whatsoever it is. So from 1956, India has moved from that, and India has been printing money on the basis of the minimum reserve system. So minimum reserve system is a very basic system that a country can adopt in order to print money, that they require a reserve of 200 crore worth resources. Okay, so that if a country has 200 crore worth resources, he can print unlimited amount of money. I'm talking about a government. So a 200 crore of reserve, out of which 115 crore should be worth of gold, and others can be bullions and foreign currencies. So if you have a resource of this 200 crore, you can print unlimited amount of money.